The White House Situation Room hummed with a quiet intensity, the kind of atmosphere that precedes moments of historical significance. The walls, lined with screens displaying maps, data feeds, and secure communication channels, seemed to pulse with the weight of the decisions being made. At the center of it all was President Donald J. Trump, seated at the long, polished table, his expression a mix of determination and contemplation. The room was a fortress of secrecy, its soundproofed walls ensuring that no word spoken within would escape to the outside world. The air was thick with the scent of freshly brewed coffee and the faint temps of electronics, a reminder of the modern age in which this ancient dance of diplomacy was being conducted. The upcoming call with Russian President Vladimir Putin had been the subject of intense speculation and scrutiny. In the days leading up to this moment, the media had been abuzed with theories and predictions. Some saw it as a potential breakthrough, a chance to ease the tensions that had been simmering between the two nations for years. Others viewed it with skepticism, questioning whether any meaningful progress could be made in a single conversation. The stakes were undeniably high. The world watched with bated breath, aware that the outcome of this call could have far-reaching implications for global peace and stability. President Trump, known for his unorthodox approach to diplomacy, had spent the morning reviewing briefing materials prepared by his national security team. The folders before him were filled with detailed analyses, potential talking points, and scenarios that had been meticulously crafted to anticipate every possible twist and turn the conversation might take. His advisors, seated around the table, exchanged glances, their faces a mixture of hope and apprehension. They knew that the president's style was unpredictable, and while that had sometimes led to unexpected successes, it also carried risks. The room was a microcosm of the broader geopolitical landscape, a place where strategy, power, and human emotion intersected in complex and often unpredictable ways. As the clock ticked closer to the scheduled time, the atmosphere grew even more charged. The technicians made final adjustments to the secure video link that would connect the two leaders. The large screen at the end of the room flickered to life, displaying the official seal of the Russian Federation. The call was being conducted with the utmost security, encrypted to prevent any possibility of interception. Every detail had been carefully planned, from the timing of the call to the precise wording of the opening remarks. Yet, for all the preparation, there was an undeniable sense of uncertainty. Diplomacy, after all, is as much an art as it is a science, and the human element can never be fully controlled. President Trump leaned back in his chair, his fingers steepled in front of him. He was no stranger to high-stakes negotiations, having built his career on the art of the deal. But this was different. This was not about real estate or business contracts. It was about the fate of nations, the lives of millions, and the fragile balance of power that held the world together. His mind raced with the possibilities. What if this call could indeed be a step towards peace? What if, despite all the obstacles, he and Putin could find common ground? The thought was both exhilarating and daunting. The room fell silent as the connection was established. The screen flickered again, and there he was, Vladimir Putin, the enigmatic leader of Russia. His expression inscrutable, his presence commanding even through the digital media. The two men exchanged formal greetings, their words measured and deliberate. The tension was palpable, a silent acknowledgement of the weight of the moment. The advisors on both sides watched intently, their pens poised over notepads, ready to capture every nuance of the conversation. As the call progressed, the narrative of the discussion began to unfold. President Trump, true to his style, took a direct approach, Addressing the issues, he spoke of the need for cooperation, of the shared responsibility that both nations bore in maintaining global stability. His words were firm, but a delicate balance that reflected the complexity of the relationship between the United States and Russia. Putin, for his part, listened carefully. His responses calculated and precise. He acknowledged the challenges but also emphasized the potential for collaboration, particularly in areas of mutual interest such as counterterrorism and nuclear. The conversation was a dance of diplomacy, each leader carefully navigating the minefield of past grievances and present tensions. There were moments of agreement where the possibility of progress seemed within reach, and moments of contention where the deep-seated mistrust between the two nations threatened to derail the discussion. Yet, through it all, there was an underlying current of respect and recognition that, despite their differences, both men held the power to shape the future of the world. As the call drew to a close, the room seemed to exhale collectively. The immediate outcome was unclear. No grand agreements had been reached, no sweeping declarations made, but there was a sense that something significant had occurred, a subtle shift in the dynamics of the relationship between the two nations. The advisors exchanged glances, their expressions a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. The road ahead would undoubtedly be fraught with challenges, but for the first time in a long while, there was a glimmer of hope. President Trump sat back, a faint smile playing on his lips. He knew that the path to peace was never easy, but he also knew that it was a path worth pursuing. The call with Putin had been a step, however small, in that direction. As the screens went dark and the room began to empty, he remained seated, lost in thought. The world outside continued to spin, its complexities and contradictions unchanged. But in that moment, in the quiet of the Situation Room, there was a sense of possibility, a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the pursuit of peace was a cause worth fighting for.